Okay, so an HR topic here, organisational structure. First of all, when we talk about organisational structure, we need to compare a tall, narrow organisation, which is identified here as organisation A, and a flat and wide organisation identified there as B. So basically what we're talking about here is imagine an organisation that had lots of levels in the hierarchy, and imagine an organisation that had relatively few. It doesn't have to be just two, it could be many, but just relative, how many levels does it have when we're comparing them. So there's pros and cons of being an organisation like this, or being like organisation B. So tall and narrow. Employees are motivated by promotion prospects. If you work in an organisation where there's lots of levels of management, you're never reaching that kind of ceiling where you're thinking, I don't know where I'm going, I'm going to have to leave. So you may have things like a lower staff turnover here because people are motivated to try and non-financial motivations, get more job enrichment by promotion, but also the financial motivations that promotions will lead to pay rises. Secondly, small span of control. Each manager will be managing less subordinates here. Because there's lots of levels, we'll have a narrower span of control. That's what narrow means really, the narrow span of control. When organisation B has, each manager is going to be managing a lot of people because there's not many levels in the hierarchy. So if you've got a narrow span of control, you can actually better manage those people. That's better discipline, maybe more individualised motivation, better feedback, better appraisals, checking that they're coming in on time, and those sorts of things. So a narrow span of control can mean more control over your staff. Clearly defined job roles. In a hierarchy like this, people will be accountable for their very specific jobs. Okay, there's the person working in that department there, that's what they're in charge of, they're going to work towards that. This organisation here, maybe it's one day I'm working in this area, next day I do something else, and I'm working in maintenance, now I'm working over here. And so there's less specialisation, and so the specialisation here should result in more productivity, because they're getting good at the task, but also more accountability, everybody knows who's doing what. The problems with having a tall organisation, it's actually more expensive. Over there we've got clearly one CEO and lots of operatives underneath. Here we've got lots of levels of managers, all, as I just said before, we're going to want pay rises for each level. So we're actually paying more management, which is going to be more expensive. Long chain of command may mean slow communication. The corporate objectives are set by the directors of the company. These need to be filtered down through the organisation. Often what you find is people at the bottom of the hierarchy are the ones actually doing the job, and maybe they need to be, if a retail company is focused on customer service, it's the director who's come up with that strategy that we want to be one of the best retailers for customer service, but it's actually the operatives at the bottom of the hierarchy who need to implement that objective. So therefore, we've got to make sure every stage of the hierarchy is passing that on. That could be a slow process. There could be like a Chinese whispers effect with a long chain of commands distorting the message. So that's what I've said there. Basically, it's slow and distorted communication. Okay, flat and wide then. They're basically the opposites of what I said before, so go through these quickly. First of all, why would you have an organisation like this? Potentially, not all industries need you to be micromanaged. So creative working environments, it can give people more autonomy, more job empowerment. Things like an architect, a journalist, an artist. You don't want deadlines. They could actually have a negative impact on your creativity. Motivated staff, as many are empowered. These people, maybe they're doing a varied task each day because they're not specialised, but also they're probably having to make more decisions because they're not a manager above them making decisions for them, so they feel very empowered, which we know is a non-financial motivator. Cheaper is less managers. That repeats from over there. Clear communication CEO, and that goes with the fact it's got a shorter chain of command. Large span of control means that it may be unorganised, people not necessarily clearly knowing their roles, productivity may drop because they aren't being monitored as well. There could be a lack of discipline, where somebody could be recruited and potentially their performance is not being monitored as closely as a tall organisation. And there's the lack of promotion opportunities, as mentioned, as a positive for as the taller hierarchy. So people actually have nowhere to go here. They might experience high labour turnover because people can see that, okay, well, I'm never going to be running this company. It might be run by like the entrepreneur that started it, and so they realise that in the long term they'll need to leave. Now, for evaluation, you could always, if you're being asked about tall and narrow, you can use the disadvantage of them to evaluate it, to contrast what you've said before. There's also some more general evaluations as well. So it depends on the industry slash the type of work. I said before about creativity. In different industries, you need a more free, be flexible, be creative. And then in some industries, you need that discipline where maybe the job's simpler, maybe you're not so worried about them sort of maybe using their brains so much, but just more kind of like turn up, stack the shelves of the supermarket and get on with it. Okay, and third evaluation depends on the size of the firm. Small businesses may be flat, and this doesn't matter so much because the person who started the company is there working alongside the operatives. They're able to motivate them, communicate really easily. When a large business, if we had so many operatives, they're never going to be managed carefully. So in which case, size of the firm, sometimes you have to, in order to get the control, you have to have lots of levels of the hierarchy. Okay?